Welcome to Season 3 of the Hope Sessions podcast. This season's episodes will consist of artists and creatives that I enjoy supporting and talking to. They have both blessed and encouraged me simply by hearing about their creative journey and how the Lord is using them to make much of Him. Remember, hope is to life as oxygen is to the body. Enjoy the show. Hey guys, and welcome again to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast with your boy Jerry D. If you haven't guessed already, if you're watching on YouTube, you know who the guest is already. But if you're listening to it on Apple Podcast or Spotify, I want to announce this week's guest is the man, the myth, the legend. He is from Mahon in Cork. Isaac Ward. This guy is a legend. Welcome to the podcast, man. How are you?
Thank you, Jerry. It's great to be here, man. I'm keeping well. I just had a cup of tea in an animal bar, so I'm feeling refreshed. Had a quick nap there, but I'm ready to go for this podcast. Excited to just see what happens, see what comes out, see what God might want to do with this podcast. And always grateful to know you and to have you as a friend, Jerry. So thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Listen. We know the kind of format of what goes on this podcast, so I'm gonna throw you in the deep end with the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, never been more ready, man.
I hope you can swim because you're gonna have to swim, okay?
armbands for days, man.
Let's go. So, man, now listen. I'm gonna ask you this question, and don't give me blah blah blah. It's rapid fire, so I want you to be rapid, okay? Your top 3 favorite songs of all times. Go.
Ooh, damn. I'm gonna say "Let Me Love You" by Mario.
Ooh.
Maybe throw in there "So Sick" by Neo.
Wow.
So sick of love songs. And then number 3. Ooh, I really like the song by Need to Breathe called "Keep Your Eyes Open."
Right.
Might be in there, might be in the mix, but man, there's too many bops.
Yeah.
Jason Derulo as well has some killer tunes.
I'm actually shocked, man. I thought you were going to say King Kaleidoscopes, Bruno Mars, maybe Ed Sheeran. Do you know?
Yeah, could on a different day, Jerry could have said all those three, man. But hey,
absolutely, man. And your top 3 favorite artists of all time. Dead or alive?
Oh, dead or alive. Okay, I would have to say Bruno Mars has to be up there kind of currently.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a beast. Also, liking Justin Bieber recently. I like his new album. Thought he was popping.
Yeah.
But I like the old school guys too, man. I think the band The Police with Sting and Thin Lizzy, an Irish kind of rock.
Yeah,
folk punk band class as well. So I'm gonna go with Bruno Mars.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put Michael Jackson in there as well. What a beast! And I'm gonna top it out with King's Kaleidoscope, man. Yeah, they're my favorite. Like
you kind of had to say that now that I basically called you out on it 20 seconds ago.
You had to. Yeah, no, they're sick, man. I love their music.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And Isaac, what is your favorite thing to do, man, when you're not working or when you're not in church with young adults ministry or worship? What does Isaac Ward like to do to chill?
Absolutely nothing. Zero. Like, no, I think different things. But I love sitting down. I love eating. I love sleeping. Just chilling, man. Nothing really. I love playing football. Like watching, I support Man United, so watching Man United play is a big one for me to do that. But yeah, sleeping, eating, nothing. Yeah,
that's it. Because I'm the same as you, man. Like, to me, get me sitting on a couch, chilling in my room with a book or just watching YouTube. Whereas a lot of people, when they want to chill, they want to go on like a big mad road trip, and I'm like, yo, it's called chill, which means do nothing.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, man, listen, you've already said it, right? You're a United fan. I'm a United fan. That's why we're friends, right? That's mainly the main reason,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
Listen, this is a 2-part question, okay? Your favorite Man United player of all time, just one, and also your favorite Man United player currently.
Okay, So all time, I want to give the obvious Cristiano Ronaldo, but I'm not going to give that.
Okay.
I'm going to say Nani. I love
What?
Nani. Yeah, I love Nani. I just thought he was silky when he did the backflip, the multiple backflips when he celebrated after the goals. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
He just brought some freshness and some life and energy to the team, that I thought was really really cool. So I would say Nani, other than Ronaldo,
Okay.
and then currently, I mean Scott McTominay. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Scott
Oh my God. I was literally about to just end the podcast there when you said that. I was like, you joking me?
Dan James, man. What a man. No,
What?
currently I have to say, I can't even think. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, maybe. Cavani. I like watching Cavani play. He's quality, man. He's silky,
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, he's cool.
I was
So
actually
maybe
shocked
him.
when I asked you who, your favorite Man United player of all time. I was expecting you to say Giggs, Scholes, Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy, or Edwin van der Sar or Peter Schmeichel, and you said Nani. I mean, how long did he
Nani,
last
man.
at our club? A few years, was it?
He tell you, go back and check his stats, man. Check Nani's stats.
Okay.
He was a baller. Yeah, class. He was
Yeah.
good, trust me.
I'm pretty sure he came from the same club as Ronaldo, Sporting Lisbon, right? He came over to United from, I think it was.
Yeah. Sporting Lisbon. He was a Ronaldo wannabe. Like, yeah, he just wanted to be Ronaldo and never lived up to the same expectation. But good player all the same, and was
Yeah.
enjoyable to watch. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
of course, man, of
cool.
course. And the next one I have, man, is you're going on a dream holiday tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Where is Isaac going on his dream holiday?
Magaluf, by where else? No, where am I going on my dream holiday tomorrow morning? I would say, like, I don't know, maybe like Bali, like a Caribbean island or something like that.
Okay.
Like where the water is like crystal clear and the sand is white and you're drinking from a coconut or something like that, man. I don't know. But other than that, I guess just going to like a match, maybe an away match, going to see Man United play if they played like Barcelona and it was in Barcelona or something. I think that would be class. That'd be pretty dreamy.
Yeah.
So
We'd have a better chance of beating Barcelona now that Messi's no longer there. We'll walk through them with the team we have this year, I think.
stop. Yeah, hopefully, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, the next one, man, is which do you prefer, Netflix or YouTube? And you have to decide one.
Yeah, it's for me. It's YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not a big series person, so I just the snippets of things that I can catch up on YouTube. It's just handy. Just whip it open, man, and then you're watching some highlights from games or watching a music video or something like that.
Yeah.
7 minutes, 10 minutes, man, suits the ADHD down to the ground. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
it's fresh, man. YouTube is where it's at for me.
I love it. Do you know what I love about YouTube as well, man? When you're watching it, they have a way of creating your own algorithm without you knowing. So if you're watching Man United highlights in the related video section, they're already recommending videos similar to what you're watching. So they're already what's it called? Curating your diet and keep trying to
Content,
keep you
yeah.
on their platform, which is really cool, but really evil as well.
Yeah. Evil, yeah, sinister, blessing or a curse. It depends what mood you're in,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True. And is Isaac a morning person or is he a night person?
You know what? The more I go on, I actually think that I can manage and do both fine. But I actually think I'm probably more of a morning person,
Wow.
even though I intentionally choose to sleep in times. But I think when I get up, I can actually be quite good in the morning and in good form. I think
Yeah.
now, as more as I go on, I get very tired coming to it. Like it could be even now, man, 9, 10 o'clock. Like, just you can find yourself just like, I'm ready for bed, man. I'm ready
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe a little bit more of a morning, but not a whole lot. Like not by a big margin. So
Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely not a morning person. I need like an hour or two to myself just to relax, maybe listen to a bit of the audio Bible, a bit of a podcast, some music, just to allow me to wake up. But if I have to be somewhere at 4 minutes past 5, I'll be there at 4 minutes past 5 and I'll be fine. But if I don't have to be up early in the morning, I'm not getting up early in the morning. That's just the way
Oh
I
yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm definitely not. Yeah, setting myself up as an early riser either. Like
yeah. Spotify or Apple Music, man.
Spotify. I've always been Spotify. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I just like it. It's kind of accessible, easy to
yeah,
navigate, has all the tunes on it. Same with Apple Music, I presume. But you know, when you start with
yeah.
something, you just kind of, it's like a barber, man. You don't care if there's another barber down the road who's better.
That's right.
You go back to your boy every time, and you're like,
Yeah,
that's it, man. That's what I like. That's what I'm used to. So
absolutely.
Spotify, yeah.
I definitely what I love about Spotify, man, is I don't know about Apple Music because I just don't care about Apple Music, to be fairly honest. Spotify is it's very
Fair, yeah.
trendy. The app is really cool. It's updated all the time. Like they do stuff at the end of the year. What's it called? Spotify Wrapped Up, which basically clocks up your minutes,
Here,
what
yeah.
genre. That sort of stuff is cool. So you can begin to reflect on what new artists you discovered and that sort of stuff. It's just I think it's fantastic.
It is. It's exciting. Yeah, it's nice at the end of the year to get an old gift and be like, "Oh, I didn't know I actually listened to that much of that person or this
Yeah.
person," you know. And yeah, it's
I
cool.
remember with me, I was it 2 years ago? I was sharing my Spotify account with Jordan, right? And when we
Right.
done the wrapped up thing at the end of the year, it was 56,000 minutes.
That's serious, man. I'm barely getting to like 8,000 minutes on mine. You'd be
It's
surprised at how
insane.
little music I listen to.
Ah, man,
But
man.
yeah, that's fire, man. That's
Yeah. So
brilliant.
if you break that down, what's that? 56,000. There's 50. How many weeks is there in a year? 52, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So what's that? 1,000 minutes a
50,000.
week by seven. So you're talking
Yeah,
maybe 2, 3 hours of music a day. Whew.
man, you're setting the bar. You're setting the bar.
Come on now.
That's
Whoever's
class.
listening to this podcast, I challenge you to beat me. Beat 56,000
Mhm.
and we'll have a conversation. I might even give you some free merch. That's a side plug. But yeah. And the
I like
last one I
that.
have, my
I like
man, is
that.
what is your favorite clothing brand? You can pick three.
Favorite clothing brand other than Hope is the Life, man.
Oh,
It's I'd say I don't know. I'm not. It's Nike, I guess. I
yeah,
like Nike stuff. I like River Island jeans. If I'm getting jeans, man, I always think the fits in River Island are popping. So,
yeah.
um, and other clothing, Tommy Hilfiger. I mean, I like Tommy Hilfiger, the little logo.
Yeah,
Always
yeah.
flexing if I have a sock or something. I can't afford the t-shirt, so I might get the sock. So I'll wear the jeans up a little bit to show the emblem. And be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
it's
of
Tommy
course.
Hilfiger, man,
Flexing, huh?
flexing. So
Come on.
yeah, I guess Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, and the other one I said, I can't remember. What did I say? Hope is the
Yeah.
life.
Brilliant. But my
So
man, listen, Isaac, that's the end of the rapid fire round, man, right? This is Hope Sessions. I
cool.
think you're aware that people listening are aware of Hope Session. What's it about? I know you pretty well. We've been friends, man, for a while. Maybe you're talking maybe 7, 8 years. So there's been a lot of dialogue.
Mm.
There's been a lot of lunch, coffees, hanging out, getting food. Every time we meet up, we don't drink, so we eat. We make up for what we don't drink. We make up for what we're keeping hillbillies, McDonald's,
Yeah,
abracadabra.
yeah.
We're they're surviving today because of me and you.
Telling you, man. People say you must have so much money. You don't drink, you don't smoke. I'm saying, nah. Just ask McDonald's, and they'll tell you,
That's right.
I'm broke, man.
Yeah. Because
So
man, even for us, right? Before we move on to any of the questions, I want to get into your creative journey as a worship leader, a singer, a songwriter, and all that. But I know your story, and I'm always refreshed by you as an individual, how you serve in our church, how you love on your friends and your family. I'm genuinely touched by it. You're a great communicator and all those beautiful things, man, that God has graced you with. I know your story, but maybe people don't. Maybe people see Isaac, oh, he's the fellow who does worship at Summerfire. Oh, he's in Cork Church or whatever. So, man, for the next 5, 10 minutes or however long you feel yourself, would you share your story with us about how the Lord came into your life and the journey he has taken you on to present day?
yes, I will, of course. Basically, my story was started with growing up with in the same house in Cork in Mahon. I live next to Mahon Point Shopping Centre. If you want a
Yeah,
point of reference, I said that in Dublin too when I was living there. I said, "Oh, I live next to Mahon Point Shopping Centre," and they all were like, "That's no good to me. I don't know where that is." But anyway, if you know where it is, that's where I live. But I'm really privileged to have grown up with two parents who have a relationship with Jesus. They
yeah,
know him as their Lord and Savior. They believe in him with their whole heart. And when I was growing up as a kid, my mom used to read me the Bible each night. And was really great. And I remember at the age of 4, with the limited but yet understanding that I did have of who Jesus was, who I was,
Yeah.
and that I needed him. I committed my life. I said that yes, like this Jesus, me and him are. I want this. I want this for me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And God was faithful the whole time, just drawing me to Himself through the scriptures each night. And then when I was 4, that was kind of the moment where I said yes.
Awesome.
And this is what I want. And so from then to the age of like 12, kind of fast forward a little bit, I was just a normal kind of regular kid, messing at school, joking around, and kind of always went to church, but didn't really take my relationship with Jesus that seriously or too much. But my relationship with Jesus really deepened. I always say it's like a friend where you might meet someone for the first time and say, "Oh, lovely to meet you," and they're really cool or whatever. But you might meet that same person a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years later, and then only when you meet them the second time, you begin to think in the back of your head, "Wow, like I forgot how cool this person was."
Yeah.
Just talking to them again, I'm
Yeah.
reminded like this person is really, really cool. And it was kind of like that with me and Jesus, meeting him at the age of 4, and then kind of at the age of 12 again. Before I started secondary school, I kind of had another encounter with him, through his word, in his presence, like singing to him. And we go to conferences every year in summer fire, and we'd sing and we'd listen to the Bible and someone speaking on the Bible.
Yeah.
And I was just remembered that, having that encounter and saying, "Oh, Jesus is actually really cool, really great. I want to go for this 100% going into secondary school." And that was a pivotal moment for me, because going into community school, you have every kind of thing thrown at you. From straight away from first year, people are going out, they're partying, they're living it up,
Yeah.
as they would say. But so I really needed Jesus, and I'm so thankful that he was there for me. All throughout secondary school,
Yeah.
he was always there. I never felt like I needed to go out and drink, or to get high, or fill myself with anything else, because I had Jesus, and
Yeah.
I had church, and I had friends there. But it's all to do, at the end of the day, this is all God. Every good thing in my life, the friends I had at church, which kept me from going out and partying and doing all these things, which can, some people say, "Oh, that's partying is great," but everyone knows that at the end of the night and the next morning, it doesn't satisfy, and it leaves you empty. So
Yeah.
I'm really thankful that God, knowing him, knowing who he was through his word, the Bible, that he kept me from all of that. And I'm still here today. I went through university, and served on the campus, with doing international cafe. So international students coming over looking to meet new friends, we'd run a cafe with them each Monday night, and try to tell them about who Jesus is and
Yeah.
what he's done for them and how he wants to know them, and stuff like that. So God has always been so faithful to me, man. Like, even times where I've been faithless, where I haven't really fully believed in him, who he was, and his promises to me, he's always been there,
Yeah.
and has reminded me at different points, different stages of my life, that he loves me, and that his plans for me are better than anything that I can come up with in and of my own brain, man, in my own noggin.
Yeah.
His ways are higher and better, and it's always been that way. So he's faithful to remind me, to keep me on track, and it's all his strength and his power in me, that, and the same power that he'll be faithful to give to you,
Yeah.
if you're listening today. He's he's just a cry away, or just a prayer away, just a simple, "Lord, I don't know what I'm doing, please come and save me from myself, from my
Yeah.
situation, from sin, from the things that's destroying me." He listens, man. He hears you. So that's my testimony. My story is to say that God has always been there, and I've just been leaning on him, sometimes not trying to do my own thing, but
Yeah.
other times God has just constantly kept me from darkness, and brought me through darkness and trial as well. So he is good, and I'm thankful that I know him today. So that's kind of my story, man.
Yeah. That is awesome, man. Do you know what? I was thinking, just I love how there was a word you kept reiterating as you were sharing your story. He kept me, he kept me, he kept me. And that's incredible. I'm telling you, listen, maybe for people listening, man, they may be a pastor's kid, or they may have grown up in church their whole life, and never experienced the world and feel like their story is not powerful enough. And, I was just grew up in church, went to church every Sunday. And let me tell you something, that is a remarkable story. If that's your story, it's remarkable. He has kept you from so much hardship, so much heartache that people experience when they experience heartbreaking relationships, drinking, drugging, clubbing, whatever, you name it, whatever. And there's a quote I heard by someone, I'm not sure the exact author, but it says this: Jesus didn't come to make bad people good. He came to make dead people live.
Yeah.
That
That's
when
true.
when the life of Christ, when the power of Christ comes in, man, and your dead bones begin to wake up and you begin to walk different. You like as I've seen it so many times in your life, man. We were just talking, me, you and Jamie were hanging out last weekend with Danny, and I was just saying to him about how, even you were there, just about how I love you, you're so chill. Like literally the house could be on fire and I was like, that's all G. The Lord will provide another house. Sure, look, it is what it is. And I'm like, what? That's it. But honestly, it's remarkable because it's childlike faith. Like I often think of my little nephew Joshua. You seen him last Saturday when we were over in Danny's house, right? And when he
Cute
needs
kid,
his
yeah.
dad, what does he do? He puts his arms up because he knows full well in his heart that daddy's gonna pick him up, because he knows that
100%.
daddy knows how to comfort him, how to settle him, how to protect him. I mean, come on, if that's not something for us to take hold of, even as we're listening to this podcast right now, man, it's beautiful to even consider that reality,
And it's even, if we look back at the scriptures again, man, and see, if God was willing to send his one and only son to die for us, well, that's the ultimate thing that he can do for us. And if he's
Yeah,
willing to do that, he's willing to do anything else for us. The house that we're looking for, the car that we dream of, and all these things. Not to say that we're guaranteed or we'll ever
yeah,
get these things. That's not what the gospel is about.
sure.
Don't get me wrong, but the things that we need, he will supply. If he
Yes,
supplied a sacrifice in his own son, which is the ultimate thing that anyone could ever do, and the thing that we worry about, the house being on fire, and we can have peace in
yes,
the worst of circumstances. And when people ask us and say, "Why are you so calm?" It's saying, like, it's not because of me. It's because who's on my side. It's because who
yeah,
is with me. It's like when you're in a park as a kid and you're running around free, happy as Larry, because your older brother is there. I picture you're running, and that Danny's there.
yeah,
When you're small, and you can run with confidence. And it's the same with Jesus, when you know that God is with you wherever you go,
yeah,
always. You can have that confidence and that calmness
yeah,
to say, I'm confident that I'm not going to be harmed, or not going to be shaken or hurt here, because God is the Lord is on my side, and he's
yeah,
always he's victorious, man. He's look at the scriptures and the battles that he's won. It's like you can't comprehend it until you read it, and then you just say, like, that's who you are. I trust it, I accept it, and receive it. And
yeah.
it's beautiful, man. It just causes you to keep going, to get back up constantly, and keep trusting. And yeah, it's good, man. I'm
I
thankful.
love even the fact that you touched on that. You touched about, having the older brothers. I'll be straight up with you, man, right? And I've never actually shared this before, but when I was in school, I was the devil himself. The way I would go on, because I knew that I had Danny and my older brother David. And if you came near me, all I had to do was send a text, and you were gonna end up in a bin. They were gonna get you outside the school gates, or they were gonna make your life a misery. And I was walking around with that Conor McGregor swagger, because ultimately you couldn't touch me, because my brothers would snap you in half, because there was an element of fear. People were like, "Oh, Jerry has two bigger brothers now. I need to." But even to think of that, man, right? If I was like that with my brothers, how much more can we, as children who belong to the King, walk around with that confidence, knowing that our Father, who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, who doesn't attend funerals, he interrupts funerals in our lives. The resurrection power comes in. There's no situation he's not afraid to intervene in. How much more can we walk in that Conor McGregor swagger, and to be cliche, but it's really the confidence in what Jesus has done for us. That it's
Yeah,
we are living and operating from a place of acceptance and freedom, rather than for it. And that's the difference when you're walking with Jesus compared to when you're not walking with him. Because when you're not walking with him, you're working for acceptance, approval, likes, affirmation. But when you become a Christian and you realize that no, hold on a second, I belong to the creator of the universe, and he calls me his own. He sent his son in my place to bring me into relationship, to reconcile me back into the family of God. Come on, man. These are beautiful truths. Come on now. That's
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's true, man. That's truth. That's truth right there.
Yeah,
And it changes your whole posture, man. Changes your demeanor, your
that's right.
attitude, your perspective, and it just lightens you, man. It lifts your spirit, lifts your heart. All the depression and all these things, man.
Yeah,
There's nothing that is too dark, too down, for Jesus to
that's right.
actually change and transform.
Yeah,
And that's the beautiful thing about who he is, who Jesus is, that he just comes in his loving kindness and just lifts spirits, man. It's
yeah,
beautiful. The amount of times I've just been having a bad day and I just picked up the Bible, and I just
yeah,
read a psalm or something, where King David was also having a bad day, and then
yeah,
what he discovered about God in that
yeah,
time, and be like, wow, that's an amazing observation of the character of God and how he shows up in the worst of situations, and it's faithful to still use us, to lead
yeah,
us, and to still call us friend at the end of the day, even when we're not being friend like
yeah,
to him. He's just him alone. He stands alone in his goodness.
yeah. Come
He's
on now.
amazing, man. He stands alone in it. Like it's
Yeah, I love it.
so
Even
yeah.
now, as we've been talking just in the last 2 minutes, there's something that's come back to my mind, and I just want to share it because I don't know if it's for you or if it's for the person on the other side of this, listening to this on a podcast or whatever. But and you can testify, I'm sure, man. But I know for me, the longer I journey with Jesus, the more I realize that, because we can be so caught up with what people think of us. The reality is, people are not thinking about you. They're actually thinking about themselves, caught up in their own insecurities, their own struggles, their own battles in their mind, So, and that's freeing for me. I remember, man, about 2 or 3 years ago, man, my goodness, when I walked into a room, I wanted to be acknowledged, I wanted to be praised, I wanted to be heard, to be seen, to be liked, to be loved. But you know what, man, I'm telling you, it's I can walk into a room now, and even if I'm the topic of conversation, I don't care. I really don't. That- because a lot of the times, man, when people talk about bad about you or whatever, it's actually obviously it's a sign of jealousy. It can be bitterness. It can be a lot of different things, but it's also I don't even know how the word to describe it. It could be they're reflecting what they want from you. Like, you're walking around with a confidence, they want it, but because they don't have it yet, they feel the need to tear you down. Like Pastor Patrick, man, he always uses that beautiful analogy of crabs in a bucket.
Mm.
Man, the crab was just about to get out of that bucket, and someone else just goes, "Nope, come back down to my level. You're not ready to leave the
Yeah.
bucket yet."
Crab culture, yeah. Crab
Yeah,
culture.
not done with that,
Not
man.
down
I
to my
don't care
level,
about crab culture.
level.
Not cool with that sort of stuff at all. But listen, my man,
Mm.
we're going to move into a time now of some questions, just to get to know Isaac the creator. So you do worship, you write songs, you sing songs. So I suppose obviously the most basic question I can ask you to kick it off, man, would be when did you start playing the guitar, the bass, and when did you start singing, songwriting? So you want to maybe share about that? How did that all happen? How did it come
Yeah,
about?
for sure. I remember I was 6 when my dad bought me my first guitar. Um, and he taught me 2 chords, the A and the D chord. So
Okay.
I paid them for about a day. I paid
Okay.
that guitar for about a day, and I didn't pay it again until maybe 6 years later.
Wow.
So I played the guitar when I was about 6. I played 2 chords for about a day or 2, and then I dropped it. And then I picked up the bass when I was 11. So I really started playing the bass guitar first. Um, besides the 2 chords when I was 6, but that doesn't
Yeah.
really count. So at 11, I picked up the bass, and I used to play with my brother Caleb, we wrote a few songs, and I played the bass and he played the guitar. At home, I had a small little bass. It was nice to get used to it. And then a year later, I started playing the guitar again when I was 12. So probably, yeah, it's been about 10 years now playing
Wow.
playing instruments. Yeah, it's been about that. So, and then I used to sing around the house kind of about that time too, kind of about 12, kind of started singing and started enjoying singing. But my sisters used to always tell me to be quiet because they were like, you're laughing at me, thought I was no
Yeah.
good. But the thing about singing was that I actually wasn't good, I'm still still not great, to be honest. But my I enjoyed it, and that's why I kept doing it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that I didn't really mind that my sisters thought I was bad. I just actually couldn't help it. I I actually got an addiction for, I would say, because I'd sing around the house
Yeah.
all day, every day, and even if someone tell me, "Oh, you suck," I literally couldn't stop. It was a habit that I'd just be singing and walking and singing.
Yeah.
So eventually, I started, with the amount of singing I was doing. If you played that much football, that much golf, you're bound to be good. You know what I mean? Or you're bound to get better because I was doing it every single second of the day.
Yeah.
So if I still was completely terrible, then there's something wrong. 10,000 hours thing is absolutely nonsense.
Yeah.
But so I started singing around that time too, and then I guess I wrote my first song on the guitar when I was about 15. I'd say it's about 15. And the first song I wrote was called For Us,
Okay.
and then Precious Day was quick after that. They were kind of the two first songs I wrote when I was about 15. And then I kind of wrote songs a lot between the age of 15 and 18. Then since about 18, 19, I've kind of slowed down a bit.
Yeah.
I've changed my mindset. Instead of writing non-stop songs, I've tried to aim to write at least 3 to 5 good songs that I like every year.
Yeah.
Which is not that much, but I guess I'm aiming for quality over quantity
Yeah.
in writing now. But I guess there's challenges in that because you never really, it's hard to like it all the time. But
Yeah.
I aim now at this point to write at least 3 songs a year that I'm very, very happy with. So, by the time, if you wrote 3 songs a year, you know, in 10 years, that's what, 30 songs.
Yeah.
So if you like them, then that's 30 good songs,
Yeah.
you'd hope, instead of 200 okay songs. So
Yeah.
I'd prefer to have 30 songs that I really am passionate about and really enjoy, as opposed to having loads that I think are just okay.
Yeah.
Because I think it's always important, you kind of know as a creative too, that you are first and foremost pleased with what you produce. Otherwise you will never do it with any conviction, because you won't believe in what you've created. So you really have to have that sense of belief in what you've created
Yeah.
in order to actually put it out, in order
Yeah.
to give people, to break through that barrier of, like, intimidation of, oh, this is mine and it's like my baby and someone else is going to hold it.
Yeah.
And so in order to give it to someone else to hold your baby, you have to believe in your baby, in your piece, in what you've created,
That's
and
right.
ultimately just the faith in the Lord to say, like,
Yeah.
whatever is coming out is, from you, that you put in, and that being the root of all things at the end of the day, man. So I guess, yeah, I'm still writing, still, life, yourself, when you have different things and work, and coming back now from Dublin, my time, and just trying to fit in. But I really want to write more, man. I really want to
Yeah.
record, and definitely going forward to keep
That's cool.
just producing stuff, man. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. And I suppose I want to ask you, man, I love asking people this question because no one ever responds the same way, because every creative is different. What does your creative process look like? Do you like your inspiration? Are you thinking about something, or can you see something and suddenly it just triggers a thought, or is it something you read in the word or a conversation? Do you know, what does your creative process look like when you get a thought with songwriting?
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I could pick up the guitar and make a tune and make a kind of a melody over, like, the tune and the melody on the guitar. I can do that like pretty quick, and be content with that. But I struggle then with the lyrics. I'll just kind of write a tune and be like, have a nice tune in my head of what I'd like to sing and stuff. But then actually putting lyrics over that, I find, like, hard to find the motivation to do that at times, because there's the kind of that balance in your head between, I don't want to just ruin this tune with any lyrics, like put rubbish over the top of it and say something meaningless. But in order to find that thing worth saying,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of consideration, and often that consideration, I just be like, maybe tomorrow, and I'll save it on my voice note on my phone, and then we'll never ever come back to it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the creative process for me is very much, I will always pick up the guitar and create something musical, a tune, and then I'll hum something over that musical tune
Yeah.
to kind of have that singing. So you have your guitar tune, and then I get my singing tune over the guitar tune, so the melody,
Right.
and then once I have the singing tune, I put words to the singing tune, and then
Yeah.
I combine all three elements of the guitar, the music piece on the guitar, the vocal piece, and then the words to match the vocal piece, and then combine the three elements together. But a lot of the times, man, I only get two out of the three, or I get all three, but only for half of a song, and stuff like that. So, um, it's a journey, man. It's
Yeah.
definitely a process, and oftentimes I don't get to the finish line, but when I do, it's really satisfying. It's really fulfilling when you can come with a finished piece and
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, I'm done," and that's it, and it's forever done. Then
Yeah.
you can anytime you can whip it out of the holster and say, "This is something that I've done," but you can't do that if you don't finish stuff. It's like
Yeah.
so you never bring a half baked cake to a party.
That's right.
It's just like, who does that? So it's the same with creative stuff. It's like, if it's half done, it's wasted, man. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's a bittersweet. You love what you have, but it's not full. So you're like, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the tension, man. That's the beauty in
Hey,
it.
come on now. Come on now. I was going to ask, man. So you
Fun fact as
talked
well.
about how, before you would write loads of songs, but now you would write between 3 and 5 good songs a year that you're proud of. And I suppose the obvious question with that is, are you working towards potentially an album, an EP? Is that something that you would like to do in the coming year, 2 years, so on? Or do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, the way sometimes I write songs, and the way I look at an album is that you kind of have a linear kind of pattern or style.
Yeah.
So it's sequential, it all kind of tells a similar story in a similar kind of vein.
Yeah.
And that's the way albums are kind of designed. But I often find myself writing drastically different music. Like, so I'll write one song that's like much different to a song I'll write another day. And I'm saying like, how can I tie these into an album together,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So these are all the kind of questions I ask myself. But I definitely would like to produce an album. I'd like to do a kind of a stripped back one, and then also a full band one. But all these things take a lot of time and
Yeah.
effort. So it's just trying to find the right time to do it. I'd like to do a gospel album. I've so many kind of gospel-y songs that I've written, but they just require a lot of
Yeah.
work and a lot of instruments and a lot of recording and different elements that would just, it's kind of, you don't want to do them and not do it well. It's always
Of
that
course.
tension of, I really want to get this done, but I want to get it done to the best it can be done. And sometimes then some stuff never gets done because you never get to the image, in
Yeah.
your head, the idea in your head is always too far down the line. So it's just trying to weigh up and consider how I can achieve um the songs in a way that's still good, maybe not the best in the version in my head, but still a way that people can enjoy. So
Yeah.
definitely I'd like to do more projects, man, and gonna put my mind to it for sure.
Yeah.
And trust the Lord with that as well, but don't want
That's
to
right.
be idle in it either, so
Yeah,
keep
of
going.
course. Yeah,
I
man.
have a fun
When
fact.
we're talking, right? We're talking about
Go for it.
writing songs. We're talking about playing instruments and stuff. And maybe for someone listening to the podcast, man, they may be young, old. That doesn't matter. But they might have something in their heart that they feel that there's a stirring in their heart to do a particular thing, or oh, I really want to write. I really want to dance. I really want to do whatever. I suppose what encouragement or word of advice would you give someone maybe wanting to take the first step in their creative journey, but they're afraid of how it's presented, how it's received, or how do I go about it? I suppose as a creative yourself, have you got anything you would like to maybe encourage them with?
Yeah, I mean, start today. Start today. Um, Develop in obscurity. You know, develop. Don't be. Don't search for the. Don't look to present straight away.
Yeah,
If you're investing in learning, you know, if you're learning an instrument or you're learning how to sing, don't rush to present. Uh, you know, spend the time at home working on the craft, developing it, to the point where you're comfortable and you're confident and you feel good enough in yourself. Not that you know you think you're amazing or that you feel that you can do it, but just that you feel comfortable, and you feel like that you're at a level where you're not going to go out and be embarrassed. You know, nobody wants to go out and be embarrassed.
yeah,
People, you just don't want that. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. But the thing is, you know, to save yourself from that, it's just time. You know, the I love the analogy or the picture of the baby in the womb. You
yeah,
know, it needs to be in there 9 months. You know, it has 9 months. That's the time. That's the process. And so often when we're looking to present or looking to show something to the world, that can encourage or uplift, there needs to be the process in the womb. And we must accept that. And there's times in where that's uncomfortable. The baby's kicking, it's desperate to get out. You like, oh, I want to let this thing off the leash today. I can't wait another 3 months, and I'm craving chocolate. You gotta push through all that. Spend the time in the womb. Work on the thing that you believe you should work on, whether that's guitar, whether that's poetry, spoken word that Jerry does so well. Um, Whatever it is, put the time in. Start today,
yeah,
and don't rush it either. Don't rush it, and then trust that the beauty will be at the end of the time, at the end of the process, and the full baked cake is much more tasty than the half baked cake. So
yeah.
prepare it, cook it well, and come and then present it
Yeah,
when it's ready to eat. When it's ready to eat, you know. So
awesome.
yeah, just practice time, and believe in yourself. You know what I mean, and trust God. Like trust
Yeah,
God that He's put that there in your heart. So it's not an arrogance or a self confidence or an inflation of your own head. It's just that quiet confidence in God and what He's put on your heart to do. So
yeah. Amen. I
yeah,
suppose I want to jump off the back of that and say, um, create the hardest step maybe for this person listening or people or whatever. Maybe I want to say this, and as something I've experienced, the hardest step you will take in your creative journey is always going to be the first one, because the first one
yeah,
is where you deal with a lot of those fears and all that stuff. But I promise you, when you take the first step, the Lord will be with you at the first step, as well as the 10,000 steps, 40,000, and however long your creative journey is. I also want to say creativity is a muscle. You know, I don't go to the gym. I
mm,
don't need to. I'm in pretty good shape. And I don't go to the gym, so I don't
you're a
need no
beast,
membership.
bro.
But I want to say this, because creativity is a muscle, the more you use it, the easier it gets to use, to create, to write. You know, you can get into a rhythm of how to design, how to plan, how to structure. The more you work at it, that's the reality of it. It becomes easier the more you work at it. It's the same with anything. Um, but yeah, no, like I love what Isaac said. It's really that. It's take the first step and you trust God with the first step, as well as the 10,000 steps down the road and the
Yes,
50,000
always,
steps. He
always.
carries you the whole
Yeah,
journey. You know, and
yeah,
every one of us have experienced that. Every one of us have to deal with our own tendencies. Oh, it's not good enough. Oh, I'm not sure about this. I'll tell you what I do. I actually have people in my life, people like Isaac, my brother Danny, Patrick, Ben, Jordan, Cassidy, people who I will send my spoken words to and say, can you give me feedback on this? Is because they will see stuff that I don't see. And they can encourage me in ways that I may think something is stupid, it's crap, and they may turn around and say, no, hold on a second, you're not seeing it from the way I'm seeing it. And suddenly it builds your faith to know that you have people in your life who are supporting you and giving you feedback. So that's definitely what I want to say to you guys. Take the first step and trust him with every step of that journey. Do you know?
yeah, yeah. Amen. Yeah, it's good, man.
And the next one,
It's
man,
great.
obviously we talked about creative journey, all that sort of stuff. But there's something that every creative um will experience, and it's writer's block or creative block.
Mhm.
How does Isaac the Great Ward deal with writer's block, creative block? Is there something, because it's such a difficult one, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. Other
Yeah,
people kind of know.
yeah, it's a really good question. It's a very good question. And writer's block is inevitable. It
Yeah.
comes and hits you. It takes, it doesn't, it's no, it takes no prisoner. Like, I don't know, man. I can't even think of the word at this point, but it's inevitable. It comes to everyone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't shy away. It'll hit you. If it hasn't hit you, it's coming your way. It'll be
Hey.
warned. But how do you overcome it? How do I, take some steps to get over that?
Yeah.
And it's a really good question. I guess you kind of learn the more you create. I very much what Jerry said about the muscle. Uh, like all when you're in sport and you're relying on your muscles to produce, the this your body to fuel your body to work and to
Yeah.
play soccer. You're relying on your legs, you're relying on your arms and just different parts to move and to get around the pitch. And the same way in you have your creativity, it's like a muscle, and you're relying on that to produce content. You're relying on that to produce what you're trying to do and achieve being
Yeah.
creative. And I think you have to get to know that muscle, and to know, just like in football, when that needs to have a rest. I think a rest is key. Like, after every football match, you need to wind down. You need to let your muscles rest. You need to
Yeah.
elevate them and let them have their space and time to breathe, so that they recuperate and are refreshed for when you go again. I think there's certain times when you're writing, it's the same thing. You need to understand that, okay, I've hit this block now. This muscle is exhausted. It's took me this far. Thank you very much, creative
Yeah.
muscle. But now I will go and have a cup of tea, and I might go for a walk,
Yeah.
and I might do something else at this point in time. And thank you very much for your service and for just being there, creative muscle. But now I will walk the dog, and maybe tomorrow, and maybe for the next 3 days, I'm just going to walk the dog, and I
Yeah.
will come back again. And that's the key thing about this, is that, just because your muscle's sore, it's overtired, it's overworked, exhausted, it will recover. It will, ease out again. Like your legs after a football match, they won't be sore forever. They won't be dead forever.
Yeah.
A couple of days rest, do something else, spend time with your family, go to the swimming pool. I don't know what you do, but do that. Like, use other things and let that have the time to refresh. And then and the key thing is what I said, come back. There's a match in 3 days. If you're a football player, you might take 3 days off training, whatever, but there's a match in 3 days. Come back again,
Yeah.
play the game again, create again, come to the drawing board again, think again, and all these things. So keep coming back, but give that muscle time. Don't, if you've hit the block, accept it.
Yeah.
Say, today I am defeated. That's okay. No problem. Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah.
That's okay. So just give it the time and space it needs, and understand the muscle. Just like your legs are dead after a football match, understand what they need, how long they need it for, and that you too will come back again, and it will work again for you. So don't be discouraged by it. It's inevitable, happens, but keep coming back. Give it the space, give it the time.
Yeah, man.
That's all I have to say.
I really like what you said, man, about rest. Rest is important, whether you're creative or whatever atmosphere you're operating in. But I do want to say this: it's something I've learned. I deal with creative block quite a bit. It depends on. Sometimes I can just be so busy with work, ministry, that sometimes there's so much going on in my mind that I'm processing that sometimes I can't even create because I'm already focused on other projects or something like that. But I do want to say this to people: maybe if you're experiencing a creative block, I want to encourage you to do stuff that inspires you. Like, maybe it's listening to that worship album, maybe it's rewatching those music videos from your favorite artist, or rereading that poetry book, or dance videos, or graphic design graphics, or whatever. Because when you're investing in stuff that inspires you, it encourages you, it gets you excited. It also causes your brain to begin to, as Isaac says, as it's resting, it's taking in more information, and before you know it, you're going to start thinking of new ideas. That's what I do. Like, for me, I will listen to podcasts because sometimes I'm not in the mood to listen to music. My head is just not able to listen to some fella strum a guitar and sing. I want someone to engage me. That's the beautiful thing about podcasts, that you're engaging people all the time with a concept, a thought, a story. So that would be my encouragement to you. Do something that inspires you, or that sort of stuff, because it's really important
Yeah,
to
yeah,
stay in that place
yeah,
where inspiration is flowing, where your heart is being encouraged and uplifted at all times.
yeah. And I know, Jerry, that you love your chips and ketchup, and you go to the Chinese and you're getting chips and ketchup, and I
Let's
love that. I think
go.
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
But it's like in creativity, it's really good, and you were even saying it there, just to keep your appetite diverse,
yeah,
because you reap what you do reap what you sow in all
right.
aspects of life, but especially in creativity. So, just listen to, whatever you listen to, you're going to produce something very similar to that.
Yeah,
So if you listen to Kanye West for a week and then you spend the next week writing music, I would bet you a lot that your music's gonna sound quite similar in style to what Kanye West, what you were listening to
yeah,
last week. So just kind of keep that in your mind absorbs, and you'll take in out all these little things that you're not even aware of. So just keep your appetite diverse in terms of what you're listening to. I mean, keep it wholesome, keep it good, you know what I mean? But listen to the different elements of different musics, different genre, different speakers,
yeah.
and just let your mind do the work. It'll do it subconsciously. It'll
That's right.
take it all in, and then when you start reproducing, you'll have lots of beautiful different elements coming together that will be unique then, in a sense. So, but yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. I love it. My man, listen, we have come to the end of this podcast, and I have loved everything that was discussed, spoken of, the encouragement. Thank you for that, my man. But before I close it, I want to hand it over to you, maybe because you have music up on Spotify and stuff like that, and people may not know that. So do you want to, even as a way to close, where can people check out your music? Are you on Instagram, Facebook, that sort of thing? The floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, I mean, the last project I released was music that I wrote about 3-4 years ago, and I released it about last year. But you can check that out on Spotify. My name just as it is, Isaac Ward, and it's called Celebrate. It's an EP of about 5 or 6 songs, that I wrote kind of when I was a teenager. So I'm looking to, if you want to, on Spotify, my name's Isaac Ward, and you can give it a follow, and hopefully I can release a few more singles, if not another few tracks in the near future. So keep an eye on the page or the profile on Spotify, and then if you click follow, you'll get an update to see if anything new drops, and
Yeah.
you might be surprised. Hopefully, I might surprise myself. So
Hey,
that's it. But Jerry, thanks a million for having me on, man. It's always really class to chat, and really engaging, and really fruitful. But yeah, I just want to end and just give all glory to God. Like, everything that we're talking about is as a result of God's goodness
that's
and
right.
his life and what he's put into to us. And in and of myself, I'm not good, but because of him in me. And I just want to end by saying that everything that you hear from me, from Jerry, is as a result of God. So all glory always to him. And thank you, Jerry, man. You're a legend, bro.
You're welcome. Yeah, guys, you've heard it from the man himself. I just want to thank you guys for joining us with this podcast episode. You know, you've been here for season 1, season 2, and now we're in season 3. It's a real joy to be able to do podcasts, to speak to people that I care and love, and people who are impacting my lives. And even as the dialogues are happening, I really believe that they will impact your life. They will help you on your journey. If you do have any questions, please reach out to Isaac. You can check me out as well. Instagram, Jerry with a G, D Music.
Dude,
I'm
go
on,
check him out.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, like check out the content on YouTube. There'll be merch drops coming, all that good stuff. But guys, stay tuned and join us again for another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast next week. Take care. God bless. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Hope Sessions podcast. Why not share it with your friends and family, and even on your social media platforms? Don't forget to leave a review, because this greatly helps to spread the word about the podcast. And remember, hope is to life, as oxygen is to the body. Till next time, take care and God bless.